It's happening. My live concert. I'm so excited about this. I have been super excited about this for a minute. For those of you that don't know, I used to play music all around Houston. I was a singer-songwriter. And man, I used to play some cool places. And I played with some cool people. And I've written a lot of songs. And so tonight, I want to kind of take you guys along the journey with me of writing all the songs and what they meant to me and where I was in life. Because you know, every single song I wrote, I was at a different place in my life. So, I'm about to get started on that. I'm going to touch the screen real quick because it keeps like bleaching me out here. You know, it's this balance of getting the light right and not bleaching me, because I'm not actually as white as the screen is making me seem, but there's light like blinding me because I wanted you guys to actually be able to see me. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Now, you know, before I used to do my concerts, I would always go and it was like a tradition of mine, because I was playing concerts like every weekend all around Houston. And I would go and I would have sushi beforehand because that was just my jam. That was, I love sushi, for those of you that don't know. This bleached out face is, give me 1 second. See if that's any better. There we go. Kind of. I think it's kind of better, but that's better than nothing, I suppose. All right, so before I would go and play concerts, do my gigs, I would, it was a tradition of mine. My now ex-wife and I, we would go and we would have dinner and we'd have a drink or two, and then we'd go to the concert. So this evening, I thought, well, man, I should do that. But then I thought, no, I'll go out afterwards, because, you know, it's kind of an early concert this evening. That was my plan. So I may still do it. I don't even know. I'm a wild guy. I live on the fly. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and I'm going to be making little adjustments as we go. So my big plan with tonight is going to be the first of many in this concert series, because I've already reached out to some of my musician friends that they're way better than I am, and they're way more popular than I am. They play all over the world, some of them, and asked them if they'd like to do this. Maybe once a month or so, we could have this online live stream concert series. I'm working on finding a venue so we could even have a small group of people too. Because for those of you that watch my Silver Ministry page, you know on Sundays I've made comments before about how it's so much easier to do this when you actually have people there, because you feed off the energy. I'm going to feed off you guys' energy, so I better start seeing hearts and stuff start fluttering up the screen. And so, going to go ahead and get started. Now, one of the first songs that I ever wrote that was good enough to play in front of people, I call it Hippie-topia. So, for those of you that don't know, I've been into music since I was a little kid. When I was about 8 years old, I started piddling around on my mom's classical guitar, very similar to this one. And she wouldn't teach me how to play, because I think to her, she thought this was just kind of a phase. Ooh, yeah, Luke wants to be a musician, but he's not actually going to learn. Little did she know that's how I was going to make a living one day. But what I would do is every day after school, I would go home, I would get that guitar, and I would sit there and I would play. And I would play, and I would play, and I would play. And I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't read music at the time. I couldn't do anything. But, you know, just like anything else, you eventually figure it out. So then what I would do is I would go home, and I would sit on my windowsill, because my bedroom window faced the front street. And I would open my window, and I would sit right there on the windowsill. And I would play as loud as I could, because I just knew I was going to get discovered. Now, it was, 12 years later before I ever wrote my first song that was good enough for people to hear. So that's what I'm going to play for you guys first up here. All right. tune a few times throughout this. I just restrung it because I wanted to have real fresh, loud strings. All right, so the very first song that I ever wrote that was actually good enough to play for people, I call it Hippie-topia. So I knew that I was going to be able to write good songs. And, I would sit there and I would just kind of play around with it. There were times where I'd go up to Dallas and I'd visit my brother and he'd kind of give me an idea and I'd sit there and just try to come up with a song. It took a lot of tries before I was able to come up with anything worth actually doing live. But I had this, it was probably Rolling Stone magazine. It was a guitar magazine of some sort. And there was a competition because it was the 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper, the Beatles album. And you could write a song and you could submit it. And the winning song got to play a concert and they got, their name in lights. Well, that night, after I read that article, I was like, I am going to write a song. I'm going to write a song about that time now. I want to write a song about the people that were living in the late 60s that are alive right now. Now you got to understand, a lot of my original songs have kind of a little bit of a punk motif because that was my jam back in my late teens, early 20s. I loved punk music. So I wrote this song called Hippie-topia. And it's very much about my ex-in-laws. Everything I am about to sing is 100% true. Way down in the streets of Mississippi lived an old gray woman who used to be a hippie. She relived the days of the Grateful Dead and all the pretty colors from the trip in her head. Every day hanging out on Ashford night, just talking about forever till the break of the light. We're singing, hey, hey, hippie-topia forever. Hey, hey, life is forever when you're loved by somebody. Well, home was a spot on the side of a lake. They're living in a teepee or friends have to make, just listening to Sarge in this little shady town. Take another hit from the world, let you down. We're killing in a country we shouldn't even be. And she drops a tap, she said, who am I free? Singing, hey, hey, hippie-topia forever. Hey, hey, life as well when you're loved by somebody. Well, this is a spot in the back of her head. She revisits, but only in the warmth of her bed. She's a grandmother now, and all nothing changed. But every night she has got it arranged. You see all her friends just singing away, and as you guess, she just wants them to stay. We're singing, hey, hey, hippie-topia forever. Hey, hey, life has a way when you're loved by somebody. Hey, hey, hippie-topia forever. Hey, hey, life has a way when you're loved by somebody. So that was the first song I ever wrote that I felt was good enough to play for people. Now, I had forgotten, way back then, I actually recorded it and threw it on a YouTube channel. I don't even have a login for this YouTube channel anymore. But my kids all found it. And my kids all watch it over and over and over because when they were little, they used to sing that chorus with me. I mean, they're big now. They're 12, 14, 16, and 18. But when they were little, boy, they would sing at the top of their lungs. There's a video floating around somewhere in YouTube land of Kinsey and I singing this song, and she's singing her little heart out with me. So, all right. So, in my early music phase, I had to transition out of punk music because that's fun and easy to write to, but that's nothing to sing and have a concert for. And so I really got into a lot of like Creedence Clearwater. And what I tried to do for tonight is find some of the songs that were kind of inspiring me at the time when I wrote songs. So, before I do my next song, I'm going to sing a Creedence Clearwater song. Myself a coming county welfare line. Well, I was feeling strung out, hung out on the line. Saw myself a going down to war in June. What I want, all I want is to write myself a tune. Wrote a song for everyone, wrote a song for truth, wrote a song for everyone, and I couldn't even talk to you. Well, I got myself arrested, wound up in jail. Richmond bad to blow up, communication failed. Well, if you see the answer, now's the time to say what I want. All I want is to get right down and pray. Wrote a song for everyone, wrote a song for truth, wrote a song for everyone when I couldn't even talk to you. Wrote a song for everyone, wrote a song for truth, wrote a song for everyone when I couldn't even talk to you. I saw the people standing 1,000 years in chains. Well, somebody said it's different now, but look at it, it's all the same. Well, Pharaoh spins a message right around the truth. They could have saved 1 million people, how can I tell you? Wrote a song for everyone, wrote a song for truth, wrote a song for everyone when I couldn't even talk to you. Wrote a song for everyone, wrote a song for truth, wrote a song for everyone when I couldn't even talk to you. Wrote a song for everyone, wrote a song for truth, wrote a song for everyone and I couldn't even talk to you. I'm just imagining that everybody in Facebook land is now clapping really loud for me, because that's what I feel like would be happening if we were not, if we were together right now. Everybody would be clapping and cheering. And I know some of you have to fan your face because, as you can see, I left this unbuttoned a little bit. Now you may be wondering why I did that. Am I trying to show off my massive chest? I mean, I hit the gym a lot. Actually, all of my power is derived from my chest hair, so I have to let it out, let it breathe, let it expose. That's why when people ask me if I take steroids, I'm like, no. They actually probably need to derive steroids from my chest hair. So, all right, here we go. Now, as I had said, that was a song that, that was one of the Creedence Clearwater songs that I was really into that started kind of inspiring me in a different direction. Boy, this whole bleached out face thing is killing me. Oh well, it's all good. I'm gonna move that light again. Hold up. Is that any better? I hope that's better. This is driving me banana sandwich. All right, so I started getting into a lot of Creedence Clearwater and songs that I could play in coffee shops. I didn't really get into bars until much, much later. I was playing wine bars, I was doing coffee shops. There's a place here near where I live, Main Street Crossing. I used to play there all the time. And so I had to do songs that everybody knew and songs that everybody liked. And you know, along this journey, I look back now and I'm like, man, I was gearing up for what I do right now. Because right now, running Silver Ministry, for those of you that don't know, I do music with the elderly, mostly with people with dementia and Alzheimer's. And if I did not learn how to get people to sing with me, I would be so screwed right now. Because that's the whole goal. Getting people to sing with me, clap with me, dance around with me. That's my jam. Speaking of which, little plug. In case as I'm singing these songs, anybody's like, ooh man, this guy sings so sweet like a beautiful angel. I wish I was there in person with him so I could go drop some money in his tip jar. I actually created a virtual tip jar. I put my Venmo link on here, so if you're like, I want to give him $1 or $1 million, you can do that, and that's okay. And I appreciate it. So, this next song, I think is very much inspired by that like Creedence Clearwater style of music, where it's kind of like rockabilly, southern. So I wrote this song back in the day when I had first moved to Houston. I was a health inspector. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, not restaurants. I was a health inspector at like processing plants and stuff. And I'll get more into that here in a minute. But on my lunch break, I would sit in my office and I had my guitar and I would write little songs, come up with new little riffs. And one of the guys there had said, he was joking around about, you know, me playing a gig with somebody, and he goes, I'll play with you, but I don't really know how to play anything. And I was like, you got a kazoo, you can play with me. And then I wrote this song. Walking down the road and I'm losing myself, and I just became someone else. I might be you and you might be me, so open your heart and you will see now. Open your heart and you will see now. I once knew a man from Kalamazoo, and he could play and I could too. Now I play the guitar, he play the kazoo. We rock the house for me and you. I say we rock the house for me and you now. Now just like all good songs, you gotta have a little bit of a love interest in there. Well, then came the day that I fell in love, and it must have come from up above. Now, the prettiest eyes that I had seen, I knew she was the girl that was meant for me. I said I knew she was the girl that was meant for me now. Well, next thing I knew, I had on a ring, and she said stop for that crazy plane. Yeah, well I couldn't stop, so now I'm alone. Well, open your heart and you will see. I said just open your heart and you will see now. I might be you and you might be me, so open your heart. So that was probably my second song that I wrote that was good enough to actually play for people. And what I would do when I wrote a song that I felt like, this is a good song, I think I'm going to test it out, I would go to open mics and I would test out my songs because I think it's okay, but that doesn't actually mean it's okay. So I would go and I would do that. And as 2008 started hitting, that was when I wrote most of these. 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was super into Jason Mraz, as I know every one of you were too. I know this for a fact. And so, just like I think a lot of musicians, your music starts kind of getting tailored to what you're listening to, what your jam is. And at the time, I actually, down here in Houston, there was this festival in Old Town Spring, which is kind of near where I live. And this lady reached out to me this one evening, and she goes, hey, we had a band booked to play, but they canceled last minute. Is there any chance you could jump in? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine, whatever. So I go, and they had a full stage and everything. It was super cool. And as soon as I go to sing this song, it was like a herd of like 14-year-old girls come running to sing. Because as soon as they heard... tried to beat you, but you were so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks, and I'm trying to get back before the cool down run out. And I've been giving it my bestest, and nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's again my turn to win some or learn some, but I won't hesitate no more. Open up your plans and then you'll bring. Look into your heart and you will find love, 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 love. Listen to the music of the moment, people dance and sing. Because of one big family, and it's a God-forsaken right to be love, 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 love. So I won't hesitate no. There's no need to complicate. Our time is short. This is our fate. I'm I've been spending way too long checking my tongue in the mirror. I'm bending over backwards just to try and see it clearer. But my breath fogged up the glass, so I do no face and I love. I guess what I've been saying is there ain't no better reason to rid yourself of vanity. Just go into the season. It's to Jason Mraz back then, and so was a lot of people. So he started kind of inspiring the songs I was writing. And I'm really sorry, I'm so bleached out. It is driving me banana sandwich. I don't know if it's bothering any of you. It is driving me nuts. Alright, so this next song. And I'm really playing these in like the progression of what I wrote. This next song I wrote after I learned that song. I wanted to write a song about just living your life and being real and being who you are. And, you know, when you think about your life, there's always going to be the things that bother you. There's always going to be things that it's like, man, this is driving me nuts. I don't like this. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's just different situations. There's always crazy things that come up. But in order to really, really enjoy life, you have to enjoy what you do, where you are, and who you're with. And I wrote this song very much under that idea. The song doesn't even have a title. I just wrote it because I was like, I got this. And let me paraphrase this. A lot of my let me preface this, or if this is the first time you've ever heard that word out loud, let me preface this with, I grew up near the beach. A lot of my songs have stuff about the beach. Even when the reason I moved to Houston was because my ex-wife and I, we wanted to get closer to the beach. I mean, Texas beaches or whatever, you know, but we wanted to be closer to the beach. So a lot of my songs kind of talk a little bit about that. And this is one of them. Living my life is a walking facade. I just quit my freaking job. I don't know just what I want to do. All I know is I want to be with you. Now, hey, hey, whoa, whoa, hey, hey. I'll put your love in a little black case. If I connect the dots, I'll see your face. With your big green eyes shining at me. And home is the place where I want to be with your love. Whoa, whoa, hey, hey. Sporting my fedora on top of the world. I got a chocolate covered life because of my girl. Now, hey, hey. Whoa, whoa, hey, hey. With your love and addiction I can't suppress, especially when you wear that little black dress. Now, hey, hey. Whoa, whoa, hey, hey. Feel the warm sand between my toes and lean over and kiss your nose. The waves, they give me the perfect beat, and the sand's what makes up our streets around here. Whoa, whoa, hey, hey. I got no cares, I'm living my life. All I want's for you to be my wife. Got a caffeine buzz, send me to the moon, but home's in a place where I get there soon. Now, hey, hey. Whoa, hey, hey. I feel okay when you're in my arms. Oh, I know I can keep you from any harm. Hey, hey. Whoa, hey, hey. Well, now that we have come to the end of the tune, I know I'll get some you soon. Now, hey, hey. Whoa, hey, hey. That was probably the next song I wrote in that progression. And as you could hear, that was very, very, very influenced by Jason Mraz. So, I normally when I do my my songs, whenever I'm playing them for my A Special Lady, I always change little details in them. I guess just out of respect. But tonight I'm going to play these songs very true to how these songs are. I'm not changing eye color. I'm not changing nothing. I'm singing exactly what I wrote originally. Now, as 2008 progressed, I was playing multiple gigs a week all over Houston. And I started playing little by little into some different bars and stuff, but bar scene was never really my jam. I'm not a heavy metal guy. I'm just not hardcore enough. The last time I played a bar, one of the ladies actually came up to me and she was like, "You're just a little too soft for this place," because it was just never my jam. I'll play wine bars, I play coffee shops. So, in my musical progression, there was this gentleman that lived near me. His name was Ozell. Ozell had an amazing story. Ozell had done soundtracks for The Temptations. He had done guitar work for all these famous musicians. Little Richard. Boy, the list went on and on. The Rolling Stones. This guy was so good. And he lived near me. And every now and then, he would come over and knock on my door. And he was a super tall, very, very skinny, older black guy. Old. Very tall. He had the longest fingers I'd ever seen in my life. Every now and then, he'd come knock on my door, and we'd stand outside, and I would just kind of show him what I was working on. And, he would give me little tips along the way. If he heard of a gig that had picked up somewhere, he'd tell me, hey, reach out to so-and-so and they'll book you. He was one of my biggest musical advocates at the time. And then one day I got home from work. And as I was coming in, one of my neighbors told me that he had passed away. And I was pretty sad by that. I mean, this guy really influenced a lot of the songs I was into, I was playing. And then I came to learn, as time went on, Ozell had a family. He had a couple kids. He had a bunch of grandkids. I knew nothing of them. I didn't know that. And they didn't know him. Because he had spent his whole entire life chasing music. So then it turned into this nasty battle of his kids fighting over his stuff, his guitars, everything. But none of them had a relationship with him. And I wrote this song about him because I think it's very easy to do. Especially when you're starting to get some traction and you're a good musician, it's really easy to just keep chasing that dream. I left my woman back on a train the day I left for New Orleans. I'm gonna be a rockstar someday. My daddy said don't talk that way. Though I had dreams that you can't chase. Sometimes I do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Sometimes I do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. I'm stepping out on stage to play, but my mind is gone far away. My little boy back at home, I don't see anymore. Looking at his face so bright from the twinkling of the night so far away. Sometimes I do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Sometimes I do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. But then you'll be up in heaven, looking down on them, the ones you gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Sometimes to do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Well, seasons turn, it starts to snow, then you know past tense on the radio. All things you thought would last are a fading glimpse, and then they pass away. Sometimes to do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Sometimes to do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. But then you'll be up in heaven, looking down on them, the ones you love. You got no face, you're just a photograph. Stories told without a soul. Sometimes to do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Sometimes to do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. Sometimes to do what you want's gonna cost you in the long run of it all. So that was a song I wrote about him and chasing that fame. And now in the end, didn't matter how famous he was, didn't matter all the musicians he could tell me that he played with, because he missed out on the things that mattered the most. The things that really, really matter. His kids didn't even know him. So, now as life progressed, and so did my songs, I got involved in a couple of different songwriting groups, and you know, that was kind of my dream. At that point, as an adult, I didn't necessarily want to be that famous rock star. I didn't want to walk away from my family and everything. I wanted to just write songs. I wanted to write songs that when you heard it, you could relate. A song that you hear and you're like, man, that's exactly how I feel. That's it right there. And so, as life progressed, you know, things don't always work out like we thought they would. Even now. You know, maybe we have big dreams and hopes of getting something, attaining something. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. You know, no, I'm not going to go churchy on you guys. If you want that, stay tuned tomorrow. But there's a plan for each and every one of us. And sometimes that plan does not coincide with our plan. Now, the next song I wrote is probably one of the most in-depth musical songs I've ever written. Chord changes, there's all kind of craziness in this song. I went through this weird little phase in my life where I just knew, without a doubt, I was going to be a blues musician because I could play anything. And I like to learn different styles. Hence the fact I played you guys some Creedence Clearwater earlier, and I was like, so I was listening to this kind of music because I wanted to learn it, and then I wrote songs about it. So I wanted to write a blues song. I wanted to write a blues song that if you heard, you'd know exactly what I was talking about, what I was singing about. And whole bunch you can relate to. Now, I don't need to go into details or depth on what I was going through in life when I wrote this song. It's pretty self-explanatory. But my goal was, I want to be able to express what's going on in my life and how I feel, because I know other people feel it too. You know, all the little statuses I type on Facebook and stuff, I get people all the time that message me and go, man, that spoke to me. That hit me so hard. And I wanted to write songs like that. I wanted to write a song that you'd hear and go, oh, that's it right there. So here's my first and only blues song I've ever written. I'm sorry I had to let you go. I want you to know I loved you so. Opened the door, saw you with him, and I knew it had happened once again. You took my heart and you threw it to the floor. Oh Lord, and that is why I'm leaving you. I can't stay here 'cause we're through. And baby, there's something you should know. I'm sorry I had to let you go. I want you to know I loved you so. You told my heart to walk out on you. You say you want me back, but baby, you should have thought of that before you threw my heart away. Oh Lord, our love died when you kissed him, and that is why I'll sing it again. I'm sorry I had to let you go. I want you to know I loved you so. You told my heart to walk out on you. And no matter crying, don't bring me back. 'Cause oh Lord, my bags are packed. You go on. I want you to know I loved you so. And I know you'll be here forever here without me, dear. Caught in the cycle of cheating love. Oh Lord, the tears roll down your lonely cheeks. But that's for you and not for me. You broke your own heart when you cheated on a love. I'm sorry I had to let you go. I want you to know I loved you so. You told my heart to walk out on you. No matter crying, don't bring me back. 'Cause oh Lord, my bags are packed. But now I know that we're through. 'Cause baby, I left you. So that is my first and only blues song I've ever written. Very self-explanatory. No need to cast shade or nothing. If anything, I should be thankful, because I wrote possibly one of the best songs I've ever written. So, in my steady progression here, Sorry, all my stuff is handwritten still, and I've never typed it up. Well, I take it back. I typed it up when I sent it in to do copyrights on it, but otherwise, I don't even have those copies. So as time was progressing, and other bands were getting more popular, and we were seeing, different shifts in love songs and such. There's a song that got wildly popular, but no girl that I've ever been with has liked me to sing it. And I love Lips of an Angel. And it was a huge influence on my on my writing, and my chord progressions I was putting together and everything. Because the way this song is written is the music for it is so different than most of the songs that were out there at the time. It was so many different weird chords. And as soon as I learned it, I was like, oh man, this is it right here. So here we go.
Dog right now, and honey, why you cried everything okay? I gotta whisper, can't be too loud. Well, my girl's in the next room. Sometimes I wish she was you. I guess we never really moved on. Of an angel, hearing my name, it makes me wait. And I never wanna say goodbye, but girl, you make it hard to be faithful with the lips of an angel. Calling me tonight, and yes, I've dreamt of you too. Does he know you're talking to me? Will it start a fight? I don't think she has a clue. Well, my girl's in the next room. Sometimes I wish you had, but I guess we never really moved on. It's really good to hear your voice say my name. It sounds so sweet, coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing those words, it makes me wait. And I never want to say goodbye, but girl, you make it hard to be faithful with the lips of an angel. Really good to hear your voice say my name. It sounds so sweet, coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing those words, it makes me wait. And I never want to say goodbye, song had a huge, not the song itself. I already played you guys the only breakup song I've ever written in my life. But it had a huge impact on the way I started writing songs. Because the chord progression was so different. So, as we're traveling along Luke Land here, oh man, I'm running out of time. I better be quick. That's okay. I saved the best for last because my songwriting just kept getting better. Plus, I've got a bunch of other songs that I'm not playing tonight because I got to save something because I'd like to do this again eventually. All right. This is possibly the only mainstream love song I've ever written. That this could be on the radio right here. I think the next 3 songs, they have a lot of potential. Or as one weird sketched out dude in a bar once told me, boy, your song's got feet, they're gonna move. Alright, sorry about that. I have to keep tuning it up because I restrung it and everything today. Alright. This love song right here, I wrote for a reason. I wanted to write a song that would express the exact emotions you go through on your first date or when you first start courting. I wanted to write a song that took the nervousness and the excitement and painted the picture. You know, that was my goal with every song I ever wrote. Paint a picture with my guitar. I want to paint a picture that by the time you hear the song, you're like, oh man, I know exactly what you mean. So now maybe you're listening to this and you are madly in love. Or maybe you're listening to this and you've been married for a while and you still love him. But it's become everyday love. Let this song take you back to when it first began and how you felt. Pick you up for first date. I'm sorry that I was so late. I got my car and forgot how to drive. Too many things I planned. Too scared to hold your hand. How am I ever gonna pull this off? Now please tell the world to slow down. My feet up off the ground, and I don't want to miss a moment with you. Now please tell the world to slow down. It's lifting my feet up off the ground, and I don't want to miss a moment with you. First stop on our date. Don't remember what the heck that I ate. All I know is that dress is my mind. And next I took a stroll in the park. You're my light, though it's dark, 'cause I can't see nothing but you. Now please tell the world to slow down. It's lifting my feet up off the ground, and I don't want to miss a moment with you. Now please tell the world to slow down. It's lifting my feet up off the ground, and I don't want to miss a moment with you. And I'll drive back to your place. I could barely keep my eyes off your face. You're the prettiest girl that I'd ever seen. Where's the moment stop in time? Your hand holding mine, 'cause I don't ever wanna let you go. Now please tell the world to slow down as I lifted my feet up off the ground, and I don't wanna miss a moment with you. Now please tell the world to slow down as I lifted my feet up off the ground, and I don't wanna miss a moment with you. We're standing outside my car. Stay with me, I'll be your rock star. But I know you don't wanna go inside. You said if I sing you a song, you'll stay with me all night long. Won't hear the words come to mind. Now please tell the world to slow down as I lifted my feet up off the ground, and I don't wanna miss a moment with you. Now please tell the world to slow down as I lifted my feet up off the ground, and I don't wanna miss a moment with you. I'll pick you up for our first date. I'm sorry that I was so late. I got in my car and forgot to drive. So that was probably the first radio song I ever wrote where I was like, oh man, this right here, this has got wheels. Alright. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Man, oh man, it's 8 o'clock and I gotta save a few of these songs for next time. So, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everybody tuning in on all the Silver Ministry stuff I do, because I do this and it makes an impact way beyond me having my name in lights. This impacts people in communities. This impacts people that are very, very unaware, and it changes their lives. I'm so thankful when I was 8 years old, I picked up that guitar. Not only did it change my life, but it's changing lives every day. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I have more of my originals for next time, or another time. I hope you all have an amazing evening. Thank you so much for all the support you give me and the ministry. God bless everybody.